Hi. Welcome to this Facebook Live. A couple of months ago, I met this beautiful woman, Lea Schodel, in Ubud in a co-working space, explaining how to get control over money. And I want to share her insights today with everyone interested in this topic and who's watching. So now, while I'm on my phone, it's very easy to bring Lea on camera. And then if you have any questions about getting control over money, it's the moment to ask them because it's amazing. Hi, I can see you.
Hi.
Awesome. I love the blue skies behind you. Where are you exactly right now?
I'm in Vancouver at the moment, in BC for the next month.
Okay, cool. And yeah, I just shared with the viewers about how we met in Ubud and when you shared getting control over money, and I thought, okay, I believe in and what's your perspective on money and money behavior? So could you share, like, how did you get into this topic, and how did you start working with money? Let me see. Good things always take time, so we have to wait for the answer. I'm adding Lea. Not possible to bring Lea on the camera. Oh God, I don't know the answer either. I've never asked, so I'm really curious. So, how can I bring Lea into the screen? If anyone has any experience with Facebook Live and bringing in people, I see Celine, you're watching. Um, any tips welcome, because somehow today technology isn't helping. Okay, I think it's working. Yes.
Hello.
Cool. So I don't know if you heard the question, Lea, like, when was it you started working on this topic and said, this is my life mission? Or how did it work?
You know what? I've been in financial services for 17 years and I've always enjoyed the role that I was doing, but it wasn't until I studied yoga that I sort of understood the reality that financial well-being is so much more than just the numbers. And I wanted to start creating programs and workshops and materials that really support people to create a healthy relationship with money because it's such an important part of our everyday lives.
That's wonderful. I was thinking, because we met and we've done some coaching, what are like the first things if someone comes to you and you start looking at their mindset, and you always talk about left brain and right brain, maybe even in my coaching, what is the first thing you notice about money behavior of people?
It's such a good question. And I think the biggest thing is that we all have an interesting and conflicted relationship with money. You know, money is such an important part of our daily lives. We use it, we think about it, we stress about it. And we all have these really interesting relationships with it because we developed our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors with money from all of these different sources. So we didn't learn about it at school. We didn't really learn any formal way to manage it. So we kind of picked up all of these things along the way that are either serving us or limiting us. And quite often they're in our subconscious or our, below the surface. So we don't actually even know what's going on, yet we seem to be getting all of these strange results with money. So it's really interesting to see the dynamics that plays out with everybody. We all have a money story and it's all individual to our personal experiences, our upbringing and our behaviors.
Okay, so if I understand, you talk about money story and it's about upbringing. So I guess many people know that, for example, if you grow up, that the way you saw your parent, your first little family, has an effect on the way you have a relationship later, which
Mm-hmm.
is simple to understand. But does that mean that the way you grow up and everything you hear from your parents, your family, your environment, your teachers about money, does this mean that, I love the quote, um, you become what you read, or you become the people you surround yourself with? Does that mean if you look at your environment that you grow up with, if you have the same beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have the same results somehow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense. You're right on the money, literally. So the so the way that it works is that we do from
Okay.
society, from our schooling, from our parents, we pick up all of these money messages, and they can either be supporting us or limiting us. And because our brains work to kind of make our lives a little bit easier, a lot of our habits and our behaviors and beliefs are ingrained into our subconscious. So then we're kind of like on an autopilot. So we just repeat what we see and what we hear, and we still kind of do what we've learned because we haven't had any other education or training. And what's really interesting is that we quite often don't know what's driving our relationship with money. And it's not until we actually, like, I like to think of the analogy like shine a light on it and see what's actually happening, can we bring it to our awareness and go, is this really working for me? Is this supporting me to create the life that I want to live, or isn't it? And if it's not, what can we do to change it?
Okay. And about money messages, like I really love to take something and use it straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like one money message or like a mantra you could share that can have an instant effect on maybe everyone who's watching, who's interested in the topic? Like, what would be the number one mantra the whole world can use right now? Is there something like a myth or something?
You know, there are so many myths about money. Money is such a taboo topic that we don't talk about it. So in some ways, it's kind of mystical and a little bit of a Pandora's box. But in reality, money is quite simple to manage. What's difficult to manage is ourselves. So I always say, in order to manage our money well, we need to manage ourselves well. So we need to understand our emotions and our feelings and our thoughts and how they actually impact what we do with our money. That's a really important point, because if we go and do something with money, so for example, let's say we go and create a budget. We all know how to budget in a sense. It's a very left brain system. We spend less than it, we earn, and we allocate our money in accordance with what we want to achieve. Yet that's the easy part, the action of doing it. But if our emotions and our thoughts around budgeting aren't aligned with the action of actually doing the budget, we won't get the results. So for example, if I'm someone who goes and says, okay, I really need to do a budget, so I put a budget in place, but internally I'm feeling really restricted, because a budget's almost like a diet, right? We feel like we're quite restricted. So immediately I'm feeling like, oh, I don't really want to do this. This sucks. I'm going to miss out on everything. I have to sacrifice. So immediately there's a disconnect between our emotions and our actions. So we need to actually understand that unless we can align them, we're probably not going to get the results that we really want to get.
Okay. That's very interesting, the link with emotions, because I remember when we first met, and from Move It we go to companies with our pyramid of all parts of health and well-being, and we thought, oh, finances, that's part of the mind and stress. But if you talk about emotions, how should I see it? For example, would it benefit companies that everyone who's making a budget, I would say every team leader, does an emotional exercise with it? How would it look like in a company? Would it benefit the company?
Oh, for sure. I mean, a lot of what we do with our money, the way that we spend our money, is driven by a feeling. So we're chasing a feeling, we're chasing an emotion when we exchange money. So understanding what's driving and what emotion we're trying to create or achieve with our money is really important. So I'm not a fan of budgeting. In fact, I hate budgeting, but I really like intentional spending plans. So there's a whole concept around tell your money where you want it to go, or you'll wonder where it went. And I really love that, because it's about becoming intentional and saying, I have this beautiful resource in my life, and I can either be intentional about how I put it out there to achieve more of what I value, to bring in more well-being and more of what I really want in life, or I can just spend it on all of these things, not really being aware of what I'm doing.
Okay. And like, let's say you have a company, or like in the company I'm working for, Move It, with all our team, we start thinking about money. I would think, okay, but doesn't that mean the next day everyone's going to ask for a raise? Or like, maybe that's a good thing. It's probably a good thing. So how would it like affect the company if everyone becomes very conscious about the personal finances, but also the company finances?
Yeah, I think it's really important as an individual perspective. You know, money is the leading cause of stress. It's also the leading cause of relationship breakdown and divorce. It's got contributing factor to disease, depression, there's so many things that it impacts in our lives. Even our sense of self-worth and our ability to ask for a raise is very much tied with that as well. So I don't think that it
True.
would necessarily mean that everyone's going to go and ask for a raise, but I think it would reduce stress. And when we reduce stress, we improve our well-being. So it's really important that we think about money as a self-care practice, and we realize that if we what we put our intention to expands. So if we can start to take control of our relationship with money, we will improve not only ourselves, but our relationships and our well-being and just our overall happiness levels as well.
Okay, cool. Um, Maybe one more thing that I was thinking right now, because I love to like be very hands-on and get into action. So I would imagine if I'm watching, I would be like, yes, I want to get control. And I remember in one of our coaching sessions, for me, that was it was a very stressful period in my life because of money and investments. And it was something I'd been running away from for years, working with investors. Somehow there was an emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And you gave me this exercise, and I still think about it every day. And maybe it's interesting for the readers, because I know you offer it for free, that they can do it, the archetype exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I see now, I always think the warrior and the magician, but can you share something why it would be cool if you're watching this? I really recommend to try it. And can you share a bit? Because
Yeah, definitely. So the money archetypes is a really interesting way of assessing what our habits, attitudes, and behaviors are currently with money. So there are 8 money archetypes, and ideally we want to have the warrior and the magician, as you said, driving our relationship with money. But the quiz that we can do will help us understand where we're at currently and what's actually limiting us or holding us back at this present moment. Once we have that awareness, we can then say, well, what can we do to start to bring in the warrior and bring in the magician? So the master of the external and the material world, and the master of the internal world. If we can have those two individuals driving our relationship with money, we're on a path to success. And that path to success is your own defined path of success. That's Scooter
you have
saying
your own,
hello.
you have your own warrior.
I do. He's protecting me.
Did you bring him from Australia
No, I'm
to
dog
Canada?
sitting at the moment. I'm dog sitting. So if
Wow.
Mariska, if you're watching this, Scooter is doing really well.
He's learning about the musician and the warrior.
Yeah, he is.
Dogs and financial well-being. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I would be very interested, if people are watching, to do the quiz and just see what archetypes, because what is there something you can compare it with? Like, I was thinking about sports, or like other quizzes you do about personality. So there's actually
Yeah.
a kind of a personality test on money.
Yeah, it is. It's the psychology of money. So it's based on Jungian psychology, and it's very much like a personality profile. The only difference is that this is not your personality. This is just showing you what are your habits and behaviors with money, because we can change our habits and behaviors. We can't change our personality because that's who we are at the core, but we can change our habits and behaviors with a little bit of attention and focus and some, awareness or coaching. So it's really a cool tool to create some self-awareness, because we can't change what we're not aware of or what we don't know. But once we have the power of the information, that self-awareness, we're really able to change our reality and build a better future.
Okay, cool. And do you have, maybe we can share the link of the archetypes, that maybe to finalize here. Yeah, we were thinking of also doing a meditation maybe one of the next weeks. But is there like a story you can end with, like a story you have about how do I know that it's really possible to control money, or to change my behavior around money? Is there a story you have you can share
Let me think
about
about
this
that.
topic?
What's really important is a lot of my clients say to me, I just don't feel like I've got the money gene. I don't feel like I can do this. And, for me, money is always presented in a very left brain way. It's always kind of the numbers and the strategies and the projections. And it's, if you're not particularly in alignment with that, it can be really hard. You already feel disconnected. So if you're creative, or you're a bit of a dreamer, or, you feel like maybe numbers aren't your jam, that's cool. There are so many other ways that we can learn about money. It doesn't have to be left brain. So the way that I teach is about bringing in some of the creative exercises, bringing in engaging the right brain, the emotions, the feelings, the activities, art, all of the sort of fun stuff, because money's not rocket science. It's actually just math, and we can all learn how to do math. We just need to have the right teacher and the right tools and the right sort of framework, or self-belief. And I honestly believe that changing your relationship with money will change absolutely everything in your life for the better.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it. And the quote I'm gonna remember, it's one I've never heard you say, I think, is you have, I don't remember how you said it, something like, tell money where it has to go.
Yeah, tell money where it has to go, or you'll wonder where it went.
Aha, nice one. Okay, awesome, cool. So here in Belgium, the sun is getting lower and your sun is going
Yeah,
up.
it is.
So yeah, I don't think we have any questions right now, but if anyone has questions, you can always email them, for example, to hello@moveit.eu, and then in the next Facebook Live, we can answer them. And if you could share, Leah, the link to the money archetypes, I'd be very interested in.
Yeah, I'll post a
What's
link
money?
below, and just make sure you have a go at completing it. And if you've got any questions, let me know. Greet and I will be doing these Facebook Lives fairly regularly. So if you do have questions and you haven't asked anything at the moment, maybe just save it for next time and we'll cover it then.
Okay, awesome. So have an amazing day, Leah. Thank you so much for, again, all the inspiration. And I'm gonna go work on my money mindset, drawing again, like in the coaching session.
Thanks for having me,
yeah.
and I'll see you soon.
Cool. See you, and bye bye everyone who is watching.